with the usual suspects. We're all back. We're not like anywhere special, I don't think. Well, I don't know. John's somewhere special. He's in Boston. That's what Jay would tell us anyway.
Yeah.
Or close to it. So we have Boston John, we have Jay, we have Howie, and the show, as always, is brought to you by DJ Event Planner, www.djeventplanner.com. Check them out and more of our sponsors down in the description of this video when it hits YouTube and the interwebs. And those of you joining us live, welcome. Thanks for coming. We welcome anyone and come and join us live on Tuesday nights at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
No.
And I don't know, like I don't know, 10 a.m. Pacific or something like that. I can't do the math. I don't know. 7? Is it 7, Jay?
It's 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Whatever it is. It's yesterday.
Just turned 9 a.m.
Daylight.
You're always welcome to join us. So, I don't know, we'll come up with some kind of topic this week. But first, before we go any further, it's time for...
Wait, it's Boston John's Record Roundup. You got it?
He's got music this week, presumably. I heard it for a second. Good enough.
You want to hear more? Here we go.
Yeah.
It's like the cannon on F Troop that won't fire.
Everyone in Studio Land is Googling F Troop right now.
There's a reference for everyone over 65.
For you youngsters out there, this is what's called a drive-in movie speaker. Google it.
AARP people may know this better as...
So we do Boston John's Record Roundup every week just to kind of turn you guys on to some records that maybe you don't know or maybe you haven't given a chance. Stuff we think is just cool, just for general listening. You can DJ with it, but it's listening stuff. What do you got for us this week, John?
This is listening stuff. This was a lightning strike. I picked it up over the weekend. Went and dug it out over the weekend.
Sure.
Coincidentally, both the Charismatic Voice and Beth Roars both did a review on the same song from the same record.
Okay.
I know
within an hour.
Yep, I know where you're going.
I'm thinking Queensryche, Dio, or Pantera.
They both played Roundabout by
Roundabout. Yes.
That's on Fragile, isn't it?
This is Yes Songs. So this is the
greatest hits.
The three disc set.
Yes.
This was 1973. Yes, for those that don't know the band, they existed before 83 with Owner of a Lonely Heart and Leave It. Before then, they were a whole different band. Yeah. Most noticeably on here, you've got, of course, Roundabout that they sang. I've seen All Good People is here. Long Distance Runabout.
Sure.
On this lot of classic stuff. I would compare Yes to kind of like Rush Light with a hint of Pink Floyd in it. Yeah. So it's kind of proggy, but it's not really heavy.
Little Crimson and Genesis sprinkled in.
Yeah. It's an interesting pocket. It's definitely easy listening. It's probably not anything that's going to make you get up and dance, but for a very, very chill record with some pretty stellar looking artwork. Let's do the double fold.
That wasn't for anyone that may have been under the influence of some sort of a psychedelic. You think?
Yeah. You think there's just a couple of
that never happened back then.
Like nobody just sat and stared at this photo for like hours and hours and hours.
Nobody ever sorted seeds on the album fold. It never.
No, of course not.
We stared at like Jethro Tull's stupid yellow balloon on the live album. Either like,
right?
I think it's gonna blow.
So for a dual whammy for anyone who likes the prog rock stuff, for the Hall of Fame. Sadly, Chris Squire, the bass player, passed away, but they needed another prog bass player to step in. So who do they get? Geddy Lee from Rush plays Roundabout for the Hall of Fame show. That's worth checking out. And of course, we love All Channels music. So thanks to the two of them for putting that back on my radar. And I've been listening to this digitally, but playing all my Yes songs.
I will tell you that as a young person, Yes, I didn't understand it, but I was so impressed when they did 90125 because it's one of the only progressive rock bands that I can think of that actually progressed. Like they actually kind of left the era and did something new and tried something new. Most of the progressive rock bands just kind of stayed in their little pigeonhole.
That's it. They changed. And even in 87, when they kind of re-evolved again, they sounded more like the Police. And when they did like Love Will Find a Way, it's whole different than what they used to be. So
it's an interesting band in that regard. I got a lot of respect for them. And, in retrospect, the song Roundabout is one of my favorite songs.
What did you think of Asia?
It's a great song.
Pardon?
What did you think of Asia?
I liked Asia, their first album. The first album I liked. I didn't like their second album.
Okay.
I didn't like
the first album I always felt was very Yes-centric.
Yeah. And there was something about it that I'd never heard anything like it before. And anytime I hear
from ELP and Yes.
Full sound, yep. You'd hear like Heat of the Moment.
There's like 4 or 5 bands, I think, in there.
Anytime I hear a song or a band or anything that sounds like nothing I've ever heard before, I get excited. And that's exactly what happened when I first heard. I think it was Heat of the Moment was the first single. Mm-hmm. And then Only Time Will Tell came after that. And just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like Air Supply for rockers. I don't know.
There you go. That's kind of it. Yeah. It's heavy metal light, just a little toned down, but no shortage of talent because they're all stellar musicians and keyboard solos are fantastic. It's just a great.
I always felt the songwriting and the production was up there with the greats. I really enjoyed it. So.
I think it was Bob Ezrin too that did a lot of their production, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm thinking that's maybe, I'd have to go back and Google it. That's my pick of the week.
Well, I changed on a dime on this one because it dawned on me that we're now in my, not to age myself, but we're coming up on 40 years ago this month, end of February, that I was standing on top of my Huntington Ave apartment having a little smoky smoke cigarette, and the apartment building was split. So there was an alley that dead ended, and the building was like a V. And it was only 3 floors.
Oh, I've heard this story.
Somebody on the second floor, it's snowing, we're standing in the snow, it's cold, having a beer. And somebody dropped the needle on How Soon Is Now by the Smiths.
Yeah.
And I was, just like you said about things that just blow you away, and I was absolutely captivated.
Yeah.
Came inside, went downstairs, and found out the apartment, knocked on the door. They're like, what? It's not too loud. I'm like, no, dude, I got to find out what this is. I've never heard anything like it.
Wasn't that on the Meat is Murder album?
It's on Meat is Murder.
Yeah.
And just an incredible piece of music. Funny because you look back on the days when, there's only 9 songs on it, I think. 9 or 10. 10.
Yeah, typical.
But I mean,
And How Soon Is Now was like 7 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like 6:46. The song Meat is Murder, incredible. One of their biggest songs, The Headmaster's Ritual. That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore, incredible. Well, I Wonder, incredible. Nowhere Fast, great song. Well, she said, of the 10 songs, there's at least 6 of them, 5, 6 of them that you're going to walk away and go, wow. And it's not like much of anything else. You can look at other groups. You could look at, it's sort of like Killing Joke, but it's not. It's sort of like a little bit of Love and Rockets, but it's not. It just
doesn't remind me of any of their other work either.
No, because
it doesn't remind me of Morrissey at all.
Changed.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that reminds me of it is Suede Head.
Yeah.
By Morrissey on his solo. That or even Tomorrow. Tomorrow sounds a lot like the dancey stuff that the Smiths did, but Suede Head reminds me a lot of How Soon Is Now, Headmaster's Ritual, Queen is Dead, those kind of vibe songs. But if you only know How Soon Is Now, trust me on this, just check out even the song Headmaster's Ritual or That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore, and I think you'll be amazed. And if you haven't seen it, Johnny Marr tours now. He did all the backing vocals, wrote all the guitar parts, and as a solo artist, he does How Soon Is Now, he does Headmaster's Ritual, and he does a great job of them. His vocal isn't as crisp as Morrissey, but the guitar makes up for the lack of vocal.
If you watch that music video for How Soon Is Now, I don't know when it was officially made, but it could have been made yesterday. It's just one of those timeless music videos.
It was very timeless.
Just the styling of the woman who's in it, and I don't know, just something about it is so unique.
She wouldn't look out of place today. The one with the hat, with the
ribbon, and the bow, and the haircut.
She'd look in place today. She got like the blonde page boy thing. Yeah.
Yes. Very just timeless.
Yeah, it was one of the first times I'd seen groups not go for, look, we're the cute band.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, no, we're going to give you something to look at while you enjoy the song.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a little departure, but yeah, great album.
Howie, what do you have for it this week?
Well, I'm going to do a take on the prog rock thing that, they didn't really progress, let's say, but I'm going with the Alan Parsons Project, Eye in the Sky.
Oh, sure.
Because that was their fourth album, and the first three were very prog, and they got the law laid down, like, you need some pop music. We need hits, which Eye in the Sky was a hit for them. Sirius was a hit for them, and Old and Wise. But I was doing some deep digging this week, and I went, and it's number 8 on the out of 10 on the album, and it's called Magma Gamma, and it's an instrumental, and it is just awesome. And and the further I looked down in my deep dive, I found out dozens of people have sampled either the intro or the hook from that instrumental.
Sure.
So that is my pick.
Good pick.
You think that Chicago bought the rights to play it, or do you think they have to pay residual? Chicago Bulls, because Sirius is the Chicago Bulls.
They're paying.
I would think they pay per play kind of thing.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they.
Whoever has publishing on it is getting paid.
I didn't know if they maybe said to him, "Hey, we'll give you $100,000. This will be our new theme song. We're going to play it every day."
I mean, whether he gets it or Apple gets it, because let's face it, he was the head engineer at Apple. Anybody that's anybody, Paul McCartney.
Could you clarify that, Howie, and explain?
My God,
don't mean Steve Jobs or Tim Cook?
No.
Apple Core.
Apple Records.
Apple Core.
I mean, no. I misspoke.
No, you didn't misspeak. It's just the differentiation.
Abbey Road Studios, I meant to say.
Yes. Yeah. But which was Apple.
Abbey Road Studios, Apple Core is the label. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way,
went through there, they were lucky to get him.
Oh, yeah. And even though the Beatles had this Apple record, they were probably one of the very last groups to go into iTunes with Apple.
Mm-hmm.
And I always found that funny that, like, here's the company named after a record label you had, but you want nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well, that was my pick.
Because pick on Parsons.
They actually did progress, I thought.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. 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 I mean, thinking Time was its own album following that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Time was a different album. But that was the last time, like, they had, I think, top 40 success was with Time, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going with a weird one, and I'll tell you how I came to this. It's not really weird. It's just, it might be controversial for some viewers.
Prince. Sorry.
What was that? Did you say Prince? No, it's not Prince. It is not Prince.
It's a protege.
No, it's not a protege of Prince.
Ooh.
It is something else. So somebody made a post today, and it's a DJ, and I won't call any names out, but I was a little, I was disheartened because in my brain, I still want to believe DJs are music people. This is not true.
No.
It is not true. Because this person was talking about the most overrated bands ever, and he listed things like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, and Kiss.
I saw that.
I was like,
who's this idiot?
Did GTP just have a bad day? Because this doesn't sound like something anybody who has anything to do with music would write. And even if you don't like the Beatles music or the Stones music or Kiss music, their influence is. So some people took the bait, and they were writing down names of bands that they felt were overrated. Now, I have made it public that I'm not a Frank Sinatra fan, and I don't like U2, but I recognize their contribution to music and culture. I do. So I give them the respect. But what I saw, I will stand up and defend this act until the day I die. I will.
Right.
One album, one real album, 10 tracks. One's a remix. So let's just say 9 tracks. 5 of them hits. 5. And look, let me just show you the album, and I'll talk more about it after I show you the album. This is the album. I think everyone should give it a listen. Milli Vanilli, Girl, You Know It's True. This is a fantastic record.
I want to apologize for ChatGP sticking in for Brian this evening. Apparently, we've got John Young has been working on this, and it's not working. This is the issue, but we'll get back.
No, wait. Now, hold on a minute. You took the bait.
That album sucks.
The reason this is a great album is because
this I got to hear.
When it came out, I was hanging around with some serious music people. Like the guy who I was hanging out with at the time became Prince's drum tech. Like everybody I knew was a musician or something, or just a music savant, like my circle of people. And I was always behind. You guys think I'm good. These guys were amazing. So when this hit, everybody loved it. We'd never heard anything like this before. The production was amazing. It was so good. And everybody knew exactly what was going on. It's like, there's no way those two guys are singing. It's the same voice, and they act like they're alternating. And no, there's no way these guys are singing this. This is art. This is an art project, and it's cool. And then as soon as everybody else was let in on the joke, there was backlash. Well, we didn't care as musicians. We were down with it. We thought it was good. We thought it was amazing. But all the pedestrians got mad when they found out, who was behind the curtain. Look, and I'll say this, and I said this in a response to somebody who was bashing on Milli Vanilli. By the way, listen to this record. It's really good. It's got 5 really solid tunes on it. Everybody else was doing the exact same thing at the same time, and nobody cared. CNC Music Factory did it. Technotronic did it. Black Box did it. A lot of people did it, where they would have a model come in and lip sync these soulful vocals that were done by people like Lolita Holloway and Martha Wash, and nobody cared. Sexy girl lip syncing. Well, at least we don't have to look at a heavyset chick from Southside Chicago, gospel singer about it. They were the real vocals on that stuff.
Oh yeah,
but nobody cared. Now here's the interesting thing. And this is stuff I didn't know because I didn't really care enough to look. All I knew is that I felt like this was a good album, and I'd never heard anything like it, and it doesn't get the props it deserves. Okay, Jay disagrees with me. That's fine. Did you ever like the album?
No, it was never my style.
I loved it.
It wasn't enough in either direction for me.
The first time I heard Girl, You Know It's True, it blew my mind. Just blew my mind. I thought it was so good. Such a well done album. Now here's the crazy part that I didn't know, and I learned today.
What year did it come out, Brian?
89.
Oh, that late? Why did I think that was earlier than that? Wow,
89. Now listen, check this out. The cat who was responsible for this,
Malcolm McLaren,
the guy who wrote it,
It was like Malcolm McLaren.
No,
it would have.
Frank Farian is his name. German dude. I thought I would give you some other acts that he's responsible for. Okay. Have you ever heard of an act called Boney M?
Yes.
He's Boney M. He's the singer on that. Same singer as Milli Vanilli is Boney M. And he was himself in Boney M. Of course, he called himself Boney M, but yeah, I don't.
Boney M's an electronic act.
Boney M is disco. It's real cheesy disco, and it was really hot over in like England. Boney M is kind of like
I'm thinking it's somebody else then.
No, Boney M.
Like Daddy Cool.
Daddy Cool. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the Russian guy too? Right? Rasputin was one of theirs. And
yes.
Mary's Boy to Child came around every Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So check out Boney M. Same vocalist. Exact same vocalist.
Okay.
There are some other acts that he was responsible for too that I thought were really interesting. He did La Bouche. He did what was the other ones he did that I thought were really good? Le Click. and he did No Mercy. Remember them?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all them. Yeah. And he did all that stuff after the Milli Vanilli thing. So he was relevant before Milli Vanilli, and he was relevant after Milli Vanilli. He also sang some vocals on a Meatloaf track and produced it. I'm like 86 or something like that. Anyway, that's my pick. Check out Milli Vanilli, Girl, You Know It's True, no matter what they tell you.
I'll revisit it. I'll take another look.
Album. It's
really good. Do you think the outrage was just that people really they knew for certain they were duped because the guys on the album cover were, that's the product. The music was because they got
busted, wasn't it? They got busted at like an award
Everybody
show.
Knew, Jay. Anybody with eyes and ears.
I think the general public went like, "Whoa, what just happened?" It became MTV News. Like, hey, there was a problem at a Milli Vanilli show tonight where like the tape loop
the lip sync went off or something
stupid.
And they got they're not singing for real.
Ashley Spears or whatever. Ask her how her career is after getting busted lip syncing on Saturday Night Live went for.
Simpson.
Ashley Simpson. Yeah, that was the end of that career.
Well, the reason I think everybody was so angry is because they were the one who accepted the Grammy for Best New Artist.
Well, and that's exactly.
Well played.
Yeah.
I think Professor Rock's got a whole deep dive on Milli Vanilli if you want to take it in.
That'd be a good one to look at.
I think it's a couple of weeks old, but I think he just went there and went through the whole ins and outs of what happened. So
I'll check it out. I missed
that one.
You like him too. That's another good channel to watch.
Yeah, revisit it, and when you do, listen to the songs and then watch the music videos. And what I thought was so good about it, looking back, it was everything I wanted. It was everything everybody wanted. It was cool fashion. It was cool dancing. It was colors. It was great music. It was the whole package, but it was art. I knew it was art. I identified it as art. I knew exactly what it was, and I didn't care. And then when everybody else like, oh, well, they're not really singing. It's like, yeah, no crap, they're not singing. Where have you been?
See, we didn't have that issue with like Dangerous Toys and Skid Row and Warrant and all those groups because we were too busy checking the girls that were in the crowd.
Yeah,
so that whole art thing, I just completely missed that.
Or enjoying the cross dressers on stage, one or the other.
Androgyny was in. I've seen some photos. You may want to revisit your computer files right now, Mr. Red. I've seen these photos. The pouties.
You've seen the pictures. Yep,
I've seen the pouties.
I'm thinking Boy George. Yeah. And
that was
Johnny Carson interviewed him on
Over
Tonight
the
Show.
top,
and it was like in the whole interview, you're just like, so it's a guy, right? It's a guy, right? But again, that was new for a lot of us in general pop that hadn't been exposed to the whole, they've been doing this in Europe for so long. Howie probably saw that in the mid-70s.
David Bowie went through that androgynous period.
Yeah, but he didn't try to look. Boy George, I thought was the girl. I mean, I know
Boy George was a drag queen. I mean, it's just
there were guys that thought the guys in Poison were cute girls.
Right, the guys in Poison were guys that were dressed
to be dressed like girls.
Yeah,
because they thought they'd get more girls.
Yeah, but
apparently
David Johansen as a New York Doll. Like I was there, and you could, you just couldn't get away with it. You could see the 5 o'clock shadow. I mean,
but wasn't that part of the act? Wasn't part of it?
Was like this or anything else?
Trying to look like a girl.
He had,
but not enough.
Killer.
You don't know.
He had Killer Kane on bass. Remember that guy, Killer Kane? He became a Jehovah's Witness.
Great documentary you turned me on to.
Yeah, he was so tall when he went on stage. And they used the hairspray and whatnot. Yeah. His hair actually singed because he had the platform heels. And when he got on the stage at Max,
go too close to the halogens.
Yeah. One of the roadies was patting him on his head to make sure it didn't, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, I've never seen anybody on stage where the light was lower than they were. He had to stand to the side.
I think the rule has always been, and this is kind of what I laugh sometimes when I hear people disgruntle about new stuff. The rule has always been, if it pisses off your folks, it's cool. It's totally cool.
Well, that's
which is why saggy jeans will never go away. Because
stupid person, you're wearing them, you're an idiot.
As soon as you accept it, it's fine. Yeah. I remember earrings were so scandalous.
Oh
my God, that guy's wearing an earring. Oh my God. I, at one time, came from a very religious family who didn't want to have anything to do with that. Very conservative religious family. At one time, they changed, but they were that way when I was young, and that was so shocking to them. And there was meaning behind where it was and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, it became accepted, and everybody had it. And then who cares? Yeah. And then guess what happened when everybody started wearing earrings? No celebrities had them in their ears anymore. No singers had them because it was normal.
It became normal.
Right.
It wasn't pissing anyone off anymore. So let's take it out.
It's like tattoos. Now everybody
you read my mind. Yeah. That was a biker thing or a sailor thing.
Right.
And now exec chefs at the best restaurants in the world are like,
little girls and grandmas have them. Who cares? It's not, it doesn't mean badass biker or cool war vet. It means...
No. It means you're expressing yourself through art in your skin that when you turn about 70, it's going to look like shit.
Yeah, that's about right.
I know it looks like a koi fish now. It's going to look like a beached whale in about 30.
It's not my thing. But you know what? Blanca's got them. Keeney's got them. My sister's tatted up. My niece is tatted up. Whatever. I just do what you got to do. But I'm that guy who just doesn't want to do anything that's going to date really bad. Like car culture, when people take a cool classic car and they paint it a trendy color in the 90s and then you see it today, it's dumb looking.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with tattoos. It's like, no matter how good you look when you're 50, 20-year-old person, this tattoo is going to date you.
Oh, yeah.
As it happened 30 years ago, so it's going to make you old. Even if you're fooling everybody else with your, you've taken good care of yourself and all that, the tattoo is going to tell everybody who you really are. And I don't like that. I don't like anything that dates you in a negative way. And I feel like the tattoos will, but whatever. People do
That's what it's funny you bring this up. Why I got this image. You know who Tom Wolfe is or was?
Oh, yeah, the famous author.
Yeah. Tom Wolfe dressed.
You can never go home again.
Right, yeah, Bonfire of the Vanities.
Yep.
Tom Wolfe dressed with like a really nice hat. He'd always have the high collar shirt with a tie, the French cufflinks, different suit coat and pants, almost spats on his shoes. He dressed like he was a character out of The Great Gatsby when no one else did that. And I always thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't date him because he was his own individual look.
John Waters.
Yeah, they call it an act.
Yeah, John Waters, another one.
Isn't that what they call an affectation?
Well, I don't know if it's an affectation because he was genuinely expressing himself this way. I was thinking of an affectation of, like, if you're talking like very masculine when you're a girl or very feminine when you're a guy. I always think of that as the meaning of affectation.
So that's
with him, it was just, this is who I am. And even though no one around me is going to dress like this, it's my uniform. And you're going to get, all of us wear a uniform when we leave the house, whether you like it or not. It's your costume, your uniform. Yeah. And as long as you accept the results of society's eyes, more power to you. But
you can do anything you want.
Yeah, but you can. There are prices to pay.
Sometimes there are prices to pay on this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not, freedom is not free. You think it's free. It's not free.
And that's okay. If you want it bad enough, you'll put up with it.
Exactly.
And that's what makes you cool.
Yeah, exactly. You do your own thing. That's the cool. It's much
kind of like when I got that vanilla tattoo and I had to have it removed. Yeah.
I wouldn't have had it removed. I think that was a punk movie.
No, it was painful to have that thing removed. Oh,
that was a punk movie. You should have left it in work.
Just have to change the names on it. That's all.
I mean, I know you're going around topless all the time. Show that thing off,
By the way, we had this talk about cool attire and baggy pants with my son. And I whipped out the phone and said, like, see this? This is a kind of timeless cool thing. And it was a pic of James Dean with just a barracuda with the collar up and the cigarette. And he's kind of looking at it. He's like, yeah, I could see that being cool. And I mean, that photo is probably like 70 years old now.
Yeah, I would think so, right?
50s,
yeah. Well,
20s.
60 years old anyway. In its mid 60s, yeah.
Oh, mid 60s, then 60 years.
It was a late 50s, right?
I think it was late 50s.
Yeah.
He died in the early 60s, didn't he?
I thought it was late 50s.
Yeah,
Or he died in 59, maybe. So that
Yeah,
was
something like that.
Yeah, so it goes back to 70 years almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
50s. I mean, we're mid 20 range or early.
Well, there are
22s.
classic looks, and there are, you know, definitely looks that date, and sometimes those looks don't date as well as you think.
My parachute pants still look
Parachute.
good.
I was just going to say that.
With the zippers on them. It still looks good.
It doesn't always. There's rules in fashion that I learned from people who are much cooler than me, and
We're all black if you're a DJ. Simple.
The rules are, and this sounds stupid, but it works.
No solid.
And if you think about anybody who's really cool, they follow these rules. If you've got weird hair, you got to wear conservative clothes. If you got conservative clothes, you got to have weird hair. That's the rules. If your hair is conservative and your clothing is conservative,
didn't you just say the same thing twice? Didn't you say if you have weird hair, wear conservative clothes? If you wear conservative clothes,
I'm sorry. If you wear weird clothes, have conservative hair. I'm sorry.
I was like, I swear, you just said the same thing.
I misspoke.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have brain damage.
That's why I don't understand art so well. I'm not an artiste dude like you, Brian. I can't figure it out.
It always ends up with weird hair. Yeah.
And I'm thinking about guys who pulled it off really well. And, I'm thinking about Michael Hutchins when he did Kick. He had that mane, but he didn't dress outrageous. He had like normal, basic clothing. He even would put on a suit sometimes and perform.
He had charisma, though. It leaked out of him.
Yeah, but he pulled everything off well.
Everyone would stop.
And then when he cut all his hair off, he dressed crazy, which was really
It didn't matter. He's that guy that could do anything. He didn't matter.
Bowie, I don't think always pulled it off gracefully.
But Bowie was 5 years ahead of fashion. You ever look back at his videos? Bowie had hairdos that didn't catch on for like 3 or 4 years.
No, Bowie.
Wait a second. How did Bowie know to wear his hair like that?
Bowie was very influential, and Bowie was a trailblazer. But even Bowie made mistakes. I think Ziggy Stardust was a mistake. I think the clothes
wasn't one of
crazy
his
clothes and the crazy hair was.
Wasn't one of his famous songs called "Fashion"?
Fashion.
Oh. That was 80. Yeah.
Turn to the left.
Yeah. His hair wasn't orange in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Style
the next thing. Every couple of years reinventing,
And, coming full circle on what I was talking about earlier, Bowie never considered himself a musician. Bowie considered himself an artist.
That's right.
True. He was a performance artist, which is kind of how I thought of this.
He said about that. I saw the interviews. He called himself an actor and an artist. Yeah. And he was playing a part. When he was Ziggy, he was Ziggy. When he moved on from there, he was different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play me that bootleg or demo version of him doing an acoustic of Major Tom?
Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
That makes me want to cry when I hear that. It's so good.
Yeah, you're a musician.
Oh my God.
He took Peter Frampton on tour on the Spiders from Mars or Glass Spiders, whatever it was in the early 80s.
Glass Spider, yeah. When
Peter Frampton's career started to go down because Peter Frampton's dad was a professor and introduced Bowie or talked about Bowie to Peter Frampton at home and said, "Oh, I have another."
Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking about Glass Spider or are we talking about Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars?
No, Glass Spider. I think that was the name 80s? Of the tour. It was in the 80s. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And he took Peter Frampton out as this guitarist because he saw that Peter's career was kind of doing this. And he's like, Peter's a great guitarist. I'm going to bring him. But Peter Frampton and David Bowie had the same teacher in school, which was Peter Frampton's dad.
Yep. They went to school together.
And he introduced him as like Davy Jones or David Jones.
He was Davy Jones until the Monkees.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
That little Brit spoiled it.
His real name is David Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. I love those, we met as kids, like whether the Stones, Beatles, any of those old English groups, it seems. You don't hear it as much over here.
The last one I heard was Cameron Diaz was talking about buying weed off of Snoop Dogg in high school.
Yeah, they were friends.
Because they went to school together. I did read that recently.
She's from Long Beach.
But
I know that because one of my old roommates was friends with her too.
Well, to go back to what we were talking about, yeah, absolutely. Bowie was a prolific musician, wrote some amazing stuff. Mm-hmm. But yet he considered himself an artist first. Yeah. And that's telling. That's telling about who he was as an artist. And I kind of felt the same way about my pick for this week.
Do you think that was the culture?
I totally got it.
Huh? Do you think, how many times do we hear about English musicians that went to art school when they were like in their mid-teens, like at 16.
Mhm.
So I went to art school. And it's like, is that college? Well, yeah, that was our college. So I went to art. They're all going to art school, whether it was to get out of real school or it was their passion. They all seem to have that artistic.
Yes.
And I think a lot of writers have it. I think a lot of painters, there's that pool of art with music. And I think it's very influential upon itself.
Bowie was always.
I mean, Paul Stanley's a prolific painter now. The drummer, Rick Allen from Def Leppard, has an art show going on. A lot of these.
Joni Mitchell.
Great. Even Howard Stern is painting. I think a lot of people that are in certain fields just express themselves on different levels versus the conservative accountant who's not, going to go home and be like,
I don't want any of our viewers to confuse like a graphic art with other types of art forms, because it doesn't have to be. It
could be anything, poetry.
The medium could be anything. It doesn't have to be paintings. It can be music. It can be videos. It can be performance. It can be all those things combined, including what we do as artists, which we talked about last night.
I have seen Brian at many a show do an interpretive dance move that is breathtaking and tearful all at the same time.
It's usually a spasm.
I thought it was an interpretive dance move.
I'm spastic.
I'm sorry.
Spastic. It's basically
because I would stop and watch and draw a tear and say to people, "Can you believe this? He's not only an amazing DJ, but look what he's doing." And you'd kind of be doing a circle, and sometimes your hand would go up, and I just thought, "Wow!"
Swims in a circle in the pool all day long.
I mean, and then you'd pull out a lighter, and I was like, maybe he was just looking for a lighter. I couldn't tell, but I took it to mean more than just smoking. I really did.
Something happened. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the way it goes.
Did we lose everybody?
So we got 3 out of 4 albums that sound like things you should check out this week, everybody. Yay, thank you. Good night, everyone. No, I'm definitely going to give it another listen.
Well, you don't have to. I mean,
no, I want to. Maybe I didn't like the Doors in high school, but yet I really liked the Doors later in life. I didn't care for certain music when I was younger. Now I appreciate it.
I think it's more interesting when you put it in perspective, when you think about when it came out and what was happening, because a lot of things after this hit sounded like this.
Oh, sure.
A lot of artists,
you could mix it with all kinds of stuff. There was a ton that used that drum groove.
I call it that beat. I just call it that beat. Maxi Priest used it.
Yep.
DNA was Suzanne Vega used
Tom's
it.
Diner. Yep.
Soul to Soul used it. Got everybody.
Everything but the girl.
Rakim. That's his. Thinking of
Eric B. and Rakim paid in full. The 7 minutes of funk mix, I think, uses it.
Pantera, Cemetery Gates. I just wanted to be able to get that reference.
Set Adrift on Memory Bliss.
Pantera.
Foghat.
Yeah,
Foghat used it.
It's like a Foghat handy. I'm ready for that category.
Hey, ready? Live too, huh?
Well, they were using it over at Motown with Shanice. They were using it in hip hop. They were using it all over the place.
Yeah, no,
it was that beat, like you said, it was everywhere.
It was just and I did a mix like that. I did a mix where there was like several minutes. That's a quick mix of most of the tracks that I could think of at the time. And then after I did the mix, of course, I'm thinking of all these other tracks that had that beat in it that I could have put in there, but I didn't. Missed opportunities. But yeah.
Well, the 90s are still on fire out here for weddings. I mean, people still want the boy band, the girl band. They still want that,
Sure.
But it seems much more mid-late 90s than maybe early.
Right.
Early isn't really, I don't know if that's going to catch up or if that's kind of got skipped over. Because it's a great period.
It got skipped.
There's a lot of transition.
I don't think there was really ever a resurgence of Technotronic.
Yeah, no.
Or Crystal Waters. And it's unfortunate because that was beautiful.
And you hear Crystal Waters every day, and somebody is going to drop that sample. Somebody is playing something from Crystal Waters.
Yeah. Yeah. The Gypsy Woman sample.
Oh, jeez. Come on. It's great. And I love that song. And I love that sample. But yeah, you're right. That period never really hit back.
And that's okay because, maybe it will. Because it's really good.
What's going to happen this year? What are we faced with this year? Is it going to be just like last year about mid to late 90s, early 2000s? Because last year, every couple I met with, really like mid to late 90s, early 2000s, mid to late 90s, early 2000s.
That's never went.
Because of their age.
That's been my world forever.
Well, it's not that it went away. It's just that you didn't get, 5, 6, 7 years ago, if I played Stilo, I wish I was a little bit taller. I didn't get the same response I got last year.
Well, he's like from your neighborhood.
Well, yeah, but I don't know they know he's Mo Val, even though we're in the same, Inland Empire and IE and all that. But, and just that genre, I mean, there were certain tracks that never really went away, but a lot of it seemed new.
I think a lot of, and I don't know this to be true, but because I don't get involved with this hardly at all, but I think a lot of that stuff has some kind of sports type of connection to it, where it's
like the jock jams,
or something, baseball, whatever, sports balls.
Did you guys have those? They were like the easiest way to get the greatest hits of
mixed by
all these tracks.
Everything
B96's Bobby D.
Yeah.
Oh, get ready to bounce. Yeah, all that stuff you never.
Chicago's Bobby D. Yeah, one of my favorite DJs.
Exactly.
I've never met him.
Start this.
But I know a lot of people who know him, and I'd love to meet the guy sometime.
B96. That's Flip Side, right? He's on there now. Or was.
I don't know who's on B96 now, but that was Hot Mix 5. That's where house music started. That's classic.
Flip Side was doing
iconic.
There too.
I think maybe, I don't know, Kiss owns it now or something, but they still call it B96. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like B96 back in the old days, I would get really angry because it was 96.3. And I got really angry because we started a station here in Milwaukee that was 96.5 and stepped on any chance I would get of receiving B96. Because we're only 80 miles apart, but there was nothing there. You can catch it on a clear night, but then it went away. The only time you get it is if there was some really bad technical difficulties at our classic hit station. And oh my God. But yeah, that was really good. I loved, even like as a kid, being in the backseat of my parents' car on road trips, just driving through, hoping that we would go straight through Chicago and not take the bypass, because we get stuck in traffic and I could listen to B96 longer on my Walkman. Because I heard they were playing everything from ABC to Ministry to like Hard House to, man, you name it. I was hearing stuff. I was like writing it down. So when I got home, I could try to find the stuff. Really, really good stuff. Because Milwaukee was kind of a dead radio market. It was very rock and roll, but yeah, Jay, you'd have loved it.
I was just going to say, it's sort of like my kind of station.
Yeah, basically. And there's a lot of stuff that you would like.
By the way, the quote of the century came at the show last week when someone came up to me talking with myself and Mr. Nick Hahn. And I showed Nick Hahn a photo of Al Jorgensen and I from last year.
Yeah.
To which Tony said, man, I got to be honest with you. Al really liked you. It's like, seriously? He goes, yeah. He mentioned later he was really impressed.
Really?
A lot of older stuff. Well, because I'd seen them in 2001 with My Life with Thrill Kill. So I think he was really impressed about my Wax Tracks discussion. And then I gave him the idea of, when is someone going to do a 2-day Wax Tracks festival and bring in like 9 Inch Nails one night, you headline the other night, and have like, get them all, Christian Death, Skinny Puppy, My Life with Thrill Kill, Lords of Acid,
right?
You could fill 2 days with that genre.
Oh yeah.
And then some idiot from the Midwest schooled you on the early stuff.
No. It's not even about that. But here's the thing. But he didn't even get, and it's funny you say that, because I mentioned a couple of tracks that are older. Granted, Hot Rod is Gibby Hayes from Butthole Surfers, which is why he doesn't do it. Even though I thought he could do it with like a megaphone and get the same effect as the Gibby Hayes there, because that's really what Gibby's doing. But I think it's like everything else now, like seeing Barry Manilow last week. People are just doing the hits. It's about the hits.
Yeah.
John will tell you, I don't think I'm the biggest by any stretch, but I'm a diehard Aerosmith fan. And the one thing you'll never hear me say is, saw Aerosmith in Vegas. It was amazing. I'll never go because it's not my show.
Right.
Because they're not going to play anything that I really want to hear.
Oh, sure.
No B-sides. It's all the commercial.
And by the way, last Saturday, Katy Perry was playing, Adele, Barry Manilow, Chicago, a lot of entertainment in Vegas. And for those of you kids out there that have been saving your money, this coming Friday, March 3rd, if you want to sit in the first 10 rows of Adele at Caesar's Palace, guess what?
Sell your
I'll get
car.
you tickets.
Both your cars.
And all you need for two of you to go is $28,000.
Sounds like a deal to me.
Tickets are $14,000 a piece.
Well,
My
before you
truck isn't
segue,
worth that much. I'll never get to see him now.
No, that's for Adele. Even she's got to be spastic over that.
Before you segue again on us, we'll land on a topic.
Hey, a
here.
squirrel.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's really interesting what you said about, it's about the hits right now. And I think it's cool to do that as an artist who isn't necessarily like doing stuff right now that you're hearing on radio, or that, if they got a new album out, that's one thing. But if they hadn't had a new album in years or anything that's hit in years, yeah, play your hits. But, and Jay can poke at me about this, but whenever I go see Prince, it was about the album he had just put out. I mean, you didn't hear anything else. He wasn't playing 1999. I mean, no way. I mean, if he played fans like that, it was weird. Huh?
Did the fans expect that?
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
We were there for the album because we were the fans. Like, dude, of course. I don't want to go hear him play a rendition of Love Sexy 10 years after he did Love Sexy. I wanted to hear the new album because I was listening to the new album.
Well, and I think some acts do that. I'm not the biggest fan of this band. I have seen them. And if you said, do you know why they're so popular? I could explain to you why after seeing them in concert. And that is Pearl Jam. I saw them with 20,000 people outside. They took up about a 10 by 10 space on a stage, and they played for a good 2.5, 2.75 hours.
Yeah.
But their secret of success is they don't want to play the hits. They're playing the hits because they kind of have to, but they're also playing weird tracks. And they record their show. This was 2002 in Irvine Meadows. The end of the night when we left, the band was selling for $10 a CD of the show. So they live record the CD and then start printing the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So when they played Boston Garden, I think like 10, 12 years ago, they had 3 sold out nights. They announced, we're not doing the same. We're going to do every song we've ever put out on now. 1 to whatever. So if you come Friday night, you won't hear any of the music you're going to hear Saturday or Sunday. And it brings up an interesting perspective. You guys, John will know, you two may not know, Metallica is doing something a little unprecedented this year. They're touring. They're only playing stadiums. They're only playing Friday and Sunday. And each night is a different show, even with different openers. On one night, they have Pantera and like Five Finger Death Punch. And then the other night, they have, I can't remember now who's
Barry Manilow and Katy Perry.
Sadly, it's not Barry Manilow.
Thank God it's not Adele. We couldn't afford to go.
No, but have you seen the prices? I think the prices start, John, at like $400 or $500 somewhere.
Yeah, probably. But it's 2 unique set lists. If you're a diehard fan, you're going both nights.
If you're a diehard fan, you're definitely want to go.
I'm sitting here thinking about it.
That's their thing. They're like, we're not doing Wednesdays, Saturdays. We're doing Fridays, Sundays, only stadiums, 2 different sets, 2 different opening acts. And the game is, and what they're finding, most fans are buying both sets.
Well,
rarely is anyone just getting one night.
A friend of mine posted on Facebook that he is going to an Earth, Wind and Fire concert at Summerfest. And they're on the main, the way Summerfest works here in Milwaukee is you buy a ticket for like $10, $12 or whatever. And you've got like, I don't know, like 25, 30 different stages that you can just roam in and out of that are featuring acts you've heard of, like big acts. You're gonna go to one stage and it's gonna be, I don't know, Hall & Oates. And you're gonna go to another stage, it's gonna be Bryan Adams. You go to another stage, it's gonna be, I don't know, whoever, somebody who but they have a main big amphitheater too, called the Marcus Amphitheater, that you have to pay to get into like you would any other concert. So the amphitheater shows are the big artists. Like that's where Prince has played. That's where Tom Petty has played. That's where Garth Brooks has played, that kind of thing. Anyway, I've been to Summerfest and seen Earth, Wind and Fire at least once, maybe twice on a free stage. This year, they're going to be on the main Marcus Amphitheater stage, and the tickets are like whatever they are. I don't know what they're going to do, but I can tell you that if I were to go see an Earth, Wind, and Fire show, I am not interested in hearing Earth, Wind, and Fire's new album. I don't even want to hear a song off of it. I want to hear Shining Star. I want to hear Boogie Wonderland. I want to hear September. I want to hear After the Love Is Gone. I want to hear the bangers.
Yep, that's the last
artists like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't.
Yeah, isn't that when they become a legacy act?
Yeah.
But don't you also open it up if you're smart as a band and go, hey, we're doing that. Just like I said, again, the Barry Manilow show, it was called The Hits. So you knew what you were getting. You weren't getting some obscure bossa nova album he did in 79. He's like, here you go, banger after banger for 2 hours. And you left like, that was amazing. I think some of these acts should do that. When I was go out and say, Earth, Wind, and Fire main stage, greatest hits tour.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to hear the songs we know. Let's go. Versus we're doing an interpretive album with only B-side. Oh, fuck that. I don't want to hear that.
If you want to get really disappointed, I tell you, some of the most disappointing moments of my life is when I fight really hard on a free stage to get a good place, and I'm there and I'm in it with one of these legacy acts, and 3 songs in this, we're going to play something off our new album. I want to leave.
Bathroom break.
I don't want to hear it. And they know I don't want to hear it. Because they're like, we'll just, we'll get back to the hits. We're going to play this song here.
It's like the drum solo.
Sit through the song and then you play the stuff you actually want to hear. It's like, oh my God.
Well, the Ministry show I attended, even Al commented afterwards, this is what we're doing on this tour. We have a new album. We're doing 4 songs every night from the new album, but we're not doing it until the encore. So you go through an hour and a half of their hits. Then they come back out. They have a chain link fence up the whole show. That comes down for the encore. He comes out and he says, here you go. These 4 songs are from the new album.
I think that's smart.
Bang, bang. I do too.
I think because then do it that
people
way.
Stay the whole show.
Right. Oh,
now they've already stayed. Like they already know what to expect. And they're like, this is going to be cool. Let me hear the new stuff.
Give us some more. Give us some new stuff.
Smart.
For sure.
We're going to take a break here. We want to bring out this flute player because we have a new song that features, Ian Anderson's type vibe. It's like, wait, what? No, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, lose the energy in the middle of the set. You're pulling that in the middle of the show. That's
I would
an intermission.
Ian Anderson flute player. I think that's kind of dope. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying if you're like a rock act and the audience expects this, but you're giving them that, you got to be tenuous. I would hate to be the guy for Aerosmith, the Stones, any of these big legacy acts to sit down and go, okay, let's do a set list. Because to do a decent set list for the Rolling Stones, let's be conservative. They've got 35 or 40 songs we could name easily.
Oh, yeah, easily.
They're going to be doing 7-hour shows. These guys are in their 80s. They can't do that. But where do you draw those lines? They have to play what? They have to play Satisfaction. They have to play Jumpin' Jack Flash. They have to play Under My Thumb. They have to play Beast. Before you know it, you're up to 12.
I don't know what their set list look like. It'd be interesting to see what a Stone set list looks like.
And see what they had to throw out. Because there's more stuff ending up on the cutting room floor with these shows than less.
Mm-hmm.
I saw
that would be interesting to see a Stone set list.
Right.
And it was a long show. They played a good 2.5 hours when I saw them. And let me tell you, I saw Santana and Sheryl Crow open.
Yeah.
And then them. And they headlined in the Qualcomm Stadium.
Wow.
It started raining. Now, granted, this is 99, so it's 24 years ago. So they were only in their late 50s.
Right.
And they delivered. I mean, they just played.
Well, Mick's always been really good, and Keith has always been really good at that.
Have you seen video of him on this tour? Or their last tour, whenever they were on the road?
Everybody,
he looks like he's 25. Yeah, no, he's still running around like a lunatic.
Yeah.
Like someone explained how a 79-year-old, the other night, running around, not as quick as Mick, but still, how these guys are doing it at all is a mystery to me. Then you see our guys from the 80s that are barely moving.
If they're still alive, most of our guys are dead.
I won't name the act, but the song is called Girls, Girls, Girls. It's like, back in the 80s, the count was like, now the count's like like, guys, please, like any slower, you might as well
Right.
just put in a string section.
That's it. Down 2
Yeah,
steps.
I saw an article about
half the BPM.
I saw not an article. It was
Tuning
it was
A440?
a video.
No, we're tuning
They said-
drop D. Okay.
Yeah, they said, "Hey, it's time for you guys to give it up." You know, because and they gave that example you just gave, Jay. You're like, you know, the original was like this, and now you're like, and you got the big beer belly as the lead singer.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do now? How about you try to jump and you wind up rolling around like a beach ball?
I mean, the best part of their tour is seeing the videos where people put the subs under what Vince is actually singing. It's like, find a cat,
Funny.
squeeze a kid, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he may have said that. I don't know in what language he's speaking any longer. He might be German now or something. I'm really not sure.
Okay, so we know that let's just close the show with this. Who's still pulling this off well? Who's still getting up there and giving amazing performances despite, you know, being a bit long in the tooth?
Stones.
McCartney.
McCartney. Yeah.
Duran.
Yeah.
They're still doing a hell of a job.
Yeah. Simon still sounds great.
And Depeche Mode. Their new album will be out.
They're selling out their whole tour.
Jeff
You think that's because people are afraid they're going to die?
First song that they released, oh my God, it's a killer. But the full album won't be out until the 28th. But I think Depeche Mode,
Do you guys remember in the 90s when he got cleaned up? Everyone complained that album that's got Barrel of a Gun.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone complained, like, this is terrible. I wish he'd go back to drinking. The lyrics were better then. It's like, guys, it's just the first sober album. Give the guy a break.
Come on.
A little space there. Yeah.
I liked him better when he was wasted. It's like, whoa, slow down.
Oh, wait a minute.
He doesn't work for you.
That's how you kill your idols.
You know, the last time I saw New Order, they really delivered. They were impressive. Like very impressive. That's like one of the only electronic bands that actually plays live instruments too.
Yeah, they do.
They have a guitar player, bass player, drummer, and they're singing. And
there's a great interview that you didn't see, Brian, because it's a weird Motorhead documentary. And they talked to the bass player from New Order, and they went into the studio, and they go, "You're supposed to zero the board," meaning you bring all the levels down to zero, and then the new band comes in and resets it. Well, they hadn't done that, so the bass player's like, "Who the hell does this band think they are? Do they know who we are? Blah blah blah. Who worked in here last night?" And they go, "Motorhead." "Oh, really? Is Lemmy's bass settings there?" And he goes, "Yeah, this is the bass channels." He goes, "Plug me in. I want to see what I sound like going through the board." He said he hit one note and it was just like, bleh. He's like, "Okay, I can't do this."
All the windows blew out. Yeah.
Yeah, everything just went. Bleh.
Now there are some, you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire still doing what they do with who they have left.
I'd argue AC/DC.
Yeah.
They're slower tempo. I've seen them. They're slower tempo, but you get what you think you're going to get when you go to see them. They're going to bring a show out.
When I saw The Cure do their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acceptance thing and their performance, that was incredibly impressive. I'm not a big Cure fan, but oh my God, that was really
Rush still has it without Neil, but Rush still has it.
Yeah,
those guys still come out on stage and deliver. Well, there's talk that they're going to do something.
They got to get Danny from Tool to come in and play the drums because he knows all the Neil stuff. Like,
well, look at. Did you guys see the Taylor Hawkins tribute shows from Wembley and I think LA Forum?
I did.
Yeah, and they brought out, you know, the existing members of Rush, and they played with Dave Grohl, Danny from Tool, and like two other drummers, and they crushed. And I mean, let's face it, there are drummers alive today that you could tap into. Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, he could deliver a Rush set.
It's depressing to even think about it, but Phil's done. He's rough. It's
sadly, that's health, and there's no way around it.
Yeah.
From what I've seen of him, he has to sit now. And you're right, it is really sad.
But oh my God, he was so good. He was
all good. Day. Amazingly good.
He made drums talk. Who the hell makes drums talk? I don't know how else to describe it. It's like making a guitar talk. He made a drum talk, and nobody does that.
Yeah, no, those were amazing. When they became a trio, that was an amazing period for them. And their songs, just go listen to Home by the Sea, the instrumental one, the long version. And it's just, wow, this is three guys.
Yeah.
Like, how are they doing this?
Yeah.
You know, it really was fantastic music, and they delivered.
Yeah.
And he was funny. I mean, you ever seen him on Miami Vice? He was on a few times.
I didn't
He was
watch
a good
Miami
little
Vice.
actor. Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Did you have a problem then? Because that
Yeah,
was a great show ever.
I was going to Latin clubs and dancing to freestyle, looking at hot Latina chicks.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't. I was in the basement watching that. And then I was going out and driving my car fast and then going to Latin clubs.
Yeah, your four-door.
They were already closed.
Whatever
I had the
it was.
Thunderbird Turbo Coupe then.
Ooh.
5-speed.
Checking my
What do you have hanging from the rearview mirror? Like a plate fashion
No,
for the air
nothing.
freshener
I
or
never
something?
went for that. No, I never went for the air freshener on the rear view. I always thought it took up too much space on the windshield.
Yeah.
Different lives.
You're a race car driver.
Different
You don't want
lives.
to take up any of the windshield.
We meet here, but we took different paths to get here.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So,
No, I was.
My mom watched Miami Vice. She bought the soundtrack.
That's a great comparison there. Now I feel even older. Thank you. Thank you.
Jay's like Brian's
No, I
mom.
thought the theme
I
song
was
was
out. I
great.
was out with Latin chicks rolling my R's.
I dug Smuggler's Blues. That was a cool song.
That was a good song.
I couldn't believe how excited people got about In the Air Tonight again. I mean, yeah, we were listening to this a few years ago.
Have you seen that though? Have you seen the clip from the show? It's really
No, I've never
poignant.
seen this show.
okay. Then
I know
you've
Don Johnson
obviously-
lived on a boat and he had an alligator.
I know
named
you've had
Elvis,
health
and he
issues,
drove
Brian.
cars.
That's the
that
least
got
of your problems. I'll be
possessed.
blunt. I know you had the health scare thing. That's the least of your worries if you haven't seen Miami Vice. You really need to get it together. I'm just telling you, because it'll change your life. You'll start wearing pink pastels with jeans with the
The
creases,
blazer. Yeah.
white shoes.
White blazer.
He had that
socks.
hangover look.
That's a good look.
He had
unshaven,
the hangover
you know,
look. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind
The
of
wife
started that.
beater and the
Even
blue
before your
blazer.
friend, Mr. Michaels, even before your friend. But no, you know what it was about Miami Vice that you would have loved, Brian? They used real songs.
I tried to
used
watch
the
it one.
actual artist.
You're
They
gonna
did.
laugh at me. I tried to watch it one time because I had seen in the
That there was a
TV
Latin
guide that Vanity was going to be on there, and I wanted to check
Mhm.
that out. And she walked down the stairs and said 2 words, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to watch this.
You know, she dated Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue
She did a lot of things.
for a while, for like a year or two.
She did all
How
kinds of
bizarre
cool
is
stuff
that?
until she didn't do cool stuff anymore, and then she got religious.
She's gone, right?
Yeah, she died right before Prince did.
Yeah.
He was mourning her death when he died. He took that pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because they were an item and then they weren't an item.
Apollonia's gone all religious too, hasn't she?
No.
I saw something with this is obviously I've got way too much free time. Carmen Electra, who at the time she goes, I have to go to my neighbor's house and get some mail because I was away, and she picked it up. And they go to the neighbor. It's like ding dong, and the door opens. She's like, "Hey, everyone, look! It's my neighbor, Apollonia."
Yeah.
And there's Apollonia in
They're
like
friendly, but
t-shirt and sweats, and I'm like, "It's not Apollonia. Where's the leather boots and where's the cool?"
I've seen
outfit?
recent
There.
interviews with her, and she's
She's like a
like Blanca.
She's not on stage. She's normal. She's not
like
like
Blanca,
scrambled eggs and
cigarettes and
She's still dressed cute and got cute hair, and she's got a lot of stories to tell. So
her and Daisy Fuentes. She's trying to make a run back on TikTok.
actually, I saw an interview.
It's a social media app.
I saw a thumbnail, and you probably won't care about this, but I saw a thumbnail for an interview of Apollonia 6 with Little Susan, and nobody could find her for a long time, but they found you don't know. Never mind. Let's just.
This is what I heard. That's what I heard. So
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Hey, now what about Susan? They say she's just a tease.
Yeah, camisole. She's 6 feet tall. Not continue.
She's actually in a canvas hall. She's 6 feet tall when she's really
That's a rumor.
really tiny. Really
Yeah.
tiny. And
Yeah.
never mind. Okay, we'll
Is that
close the
like
show.
the flathead 3 feet tall and has a shadow?
That's Cameo.
Bob Naveau reference. Yeah.
Wrong guy. No, Marcus Thompson is a DJ. He's a friend of ours
Oh, that's
who wrote
right.
that song and sang that song.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we're